Welcome to the second session. We have the amazing team of the Department of Culture Tourism, the education team. We have my colleagues Moza El-Mazrou وأشواق العبد المنعم. They will be here to talk to you about the cultural, the intangible culture in education. So please, you can join.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Nahid and the Abrahamic Family House team for inviting us today. We always enjoy talking about all the work that we do. So just to give you a bit of overview of where we work. So Department of Culture Tourism, we work in the culture sector, primarily in the education and outreach department. So everything from training tour guides in the cultural sites, creating resources that you have a few copies to take with you today, creating programs, outreach programs, creating hands-on workshops, and we design these from age 3 to 99. So it's for all ages, all groups. Talking about values is a very tricky thing because it's very, it's not something tangible. It's not something that you can pinpoint. Our values as Emirati people is rooted in our heritage as Bedouins and how we kind of traveled across this landscape. And what that meant to us, what values stem from that. And of course, a lot of Islamic principles kind of marry into these values. At their core, we talk about unity, resilience, openness, collaboration, and sustainability. And I really wanted to jump way back before we get started into this talk about values. Sometimes we forget how rich and deep-rooted our history is. So the archaeological sites in the Emirate of Abu Dhabi, they range really from far-off islands, Dalma, Gaga, all the way to the coast of Abu Dhabi. And they demonstrate the existence of human settlement. And it shows us through the finds and through the pottery, through the material culture that was found, that there's been a constant link and a cultural exchange with as far off as Mesopotamia and the Indus Valley. We were very lucky that we had a leader like Sheikh Zayed who valued these and understand their importance. And through him, we've kind of started this journey of showing our culture, really. And this is something that we always talk to students about. What was the first archaeological excavation? At the time, there was a Danish team that was active in Bahrain. And obviously, the rulers heard about this and invited that Danish team to come to Nar. And so when they started digging, they found all these ruins that date back to the Bronze Age, I believe. And, why do we keep talking about the archaeology? Because to be part of a land that had constant human settlement from the Bronze Age all today is a big thing. It's not a simple thing and it's not a light thing. And so I wanted to just start with just this overview of these sites. Bida bint Saud is one of those sites that is quite mysterious because it has a lot of carvings on the walls. It had a purpose-built building in the Iron Age that was just for the management of water. So when we talk about Al-Ain Oasis, it's not, or oases, we're not just talking about, palm groves and so on. This is a 3,000-year-old system that's been around since the Iron Age. It's an ancient irrigation system. Some of the earliest evidence of the Falaj system was found in Hili. There are a lot of values that go into this Falaj system. And please, Ashwaq.
Thank you, Moza. Beginning with the main Falaj that is called Falaj, and which is where this Falaj, where they collecting all the underground near the mountain base and follow of several wells, and those wells it's digging also, it's called Tiqab. So those wells, they connected together, and then they will go underground, forming a small river that for several kilometers from the base of the mountain until they begin to irrigate all the oases.
We want to jump into a bit of our culture sites because that was something of a discussion that we had. And one of the more recent sites that opened is Al-Maqta Museum. It's a small museum, but it packs a punch. So المقطع, and if any of you are residents of Abu Dhabi City, you probably went over the bridge. You probably saw this watchtower in the middle of the water. That's not for fun. That was the main entry point into Abu Dhabi. So before it became a city, before there were plentiful buildings, before even the bridge, there was one tower that was purposely built in the waterway as a strategic way to control how people go in and out of the island. Al-Maqta was a point that witnessed the evolution also of the defensive system in the Emirate. So you will see like the history of the police, the history of the transformation from guards to police to the city today. Qasr al-Hissan, of course, is the seat of power. It's been around for 250 years. It also started from a watchtower. So actually, Al-Maqta as a watchtower and Qasr al-Hissan were in conversation with each other. So they were used as a way to communicate if there are any attackers, any people that they didn't know were trying to go into the island at the time. They would communicate with each other. Qasr al-Hissan has the prime example of how a majlis evolves. So, of course, we all know the majalis of the sheikhs today, but this started as simple as sitting under a tree. The sheikhs were very open to people coming and talking to them. So in Qasr al-Hissan, that was also part of the evolution. And in years of the development of the Emirate of Abu Dhabi and after the formation, you have the National Consultative Council, which is set right outside Qasr al-Hissan. And of course, it talks about all this history that can be unpacked in the site. Finally, Wahat al-Karama is where we honor the soldiers who sacrificed their lives for the UAE. And I find it very poetic that it's just facing Sheikh Zayed Grand Mosque, where Sheikh Zayed was laid to rest. So moving on to Al-Ain.
Al-Jahli Fort is for protection, Al-Ain city. Also, when we talking about the value, we will see in Al-Jahli Fort, we will see the embodies protection and resilience and culture pride. Also, when you visit Al-Jahli Fort, you will see Mubarak bin London.
Wilfred Thesiger. He was a traveler.
The Bedouins called him Mubarak bin London because he's from UK, and he was traveling all the empty quarters. And while he's traveling, he was taking all his notes and taking all the pictures. And also one of the examples that we can see in Al-Ain, Qasr al-Muwajji. Qasr al-Muwajji is representing the leadership and the vision and the community. And also the most important for Qasr al-Muwajji is the birthplace of Sheikh Khalifa, and also showing case of the governors and heritage preservation. Also, one of the intangible heritage elements that in the UNESCO, you will find the Saqara, it's falconry. Falconry, you will find it in most present in Qasr al-Muwajji. Now we're moving also to Beit Muhammad bin Khalifa. It's one of the most important from the modern heritage building in Al-Ain, and represent how the community in Al-Ain that time building together as a relationship together, and also linking all the traditional heritage and the city modern transformation from the traditional building to the modernity.
Since we talked about the buildings and the personalities, now we can go deeper into how do values come through intangible heritage? How much we document and pass on. There's a lot of values that stem from these practices. So we're starting off with crafts tied to the landscape. And this is when we were talking about sustainability as a practice. So when you move from one landscape to another, you see how people in the UAE have cultivated their surroundings and the resources in their environment. So in the coast, obviously, we have boat building and fish net making, and these all require a high level of collaboration and community. And actually, you know, we put palm tree at the end, but actually the rope making and everything related to Jalafa relies on rope making. So there's a symbiosis between these three ecosystems. When we move on to the desert, this is one element that you can find in the desert, but it's a very basic but highly, skilled practice of weaving. And the Sadu weaving really relies on seasonality, on the availability of camels and goats and sheep, and when do you shear them, when do you prepare these raw materials, how you weave them into creating Sadu. And Sadu is used from everything from the bridles on camels all the way to tents. Finally, in the oases, the date palm industry is also one of those things that is highly prized in Arabic culture. And that's not just because of the dates. So everything from the trunk all the way to the dates and the leaves, everything is used in its process. So everything from rope making, they would take the fiber from the trunk and create rope. They would take the palm fronds when they're time to prune the palm tree and create them into, they use basket weaving. So everything from floor mats to baskets and so on. Here I put a picture of arish that's it's always made entirely from date palm byproducts. And this is a craft, I think, especially with date palm, that men and women participate in. So obviously the women get the finer things and they create the baskets and they create the finer things, but the men get the rougher, the rougher tasks.
And we called it the Safafa.
Safafa, yes.
We highlight now about the hospitality, and this is the most important here in UAE culture, welcoming guests. And also in UAE, we have different majlis, but the idea is welcoming people and happy to welcoming people, and also serve them the al-qahwa and the fwala. We call it fwala, the dates and the fruits and all this.
So we talk about majlis a lot as a space that's used, but yes, it is a place of welcome. Yes, it's a place where important discussions happen. But it's also this place where we transmit a lot of our teaching to the younger generation. So Sana also includes how you talk to someone. What is the etiquette? What does it mean to address someone who's older than you? How do you pour a cup of coffee? That's where children learn it in the majlis. Finally, we have the performing arts.
Yes, thank you. I enjoy discovering the performing arts here in UAE, because it's just not only just performing arts. It's represent pride and identity. When you here, I'm sure you see Al-Ayala and the Razfa during this celebration days, but it's not only performing arts. Behind it, it's a lot of stories and a lot of practices and a lot of values. Like we put Al-Ayala and the Razfa together because it's a grouping performing arts. The other performance art is Al-Azi.
Historically, it's about victory.
I recommend you to visit Delma Museum during the winter, inshallah, because it's give you a story about the pearl diving.
24th of October, Al-Ain Museum is opening, and it talks about a lot of what we just saw today. Everything from archaeology, like in situ archaeology. So when you walk into the museum, you have archaeology under your feet. And then they take you through the history from the Paleolithic age and finding the earliest flint stones around Jabal Hafid, all the way to pre-formation of the UAE. So all that history is presented there.
I was wondering which of the culture sites, if you have this in mind, would fit best for them to visit and to get inspirations for the projects that we work on.
Sir Banias was a prime example on Coexistence, because that's the location of the monastery that they found. So it's between the 6th and the 7th century, I believe.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Thank you, Tama. Thank you, my book.
What moves us? Or how you want to formulate it yourself, so that you know what the first circle stands for. Because look, for any project you want to do, you have to believe in it yourself.
We care about sustainability because we have seen in the community needs clean water and more trees, and we can do this by combining design. So each of us has different paths. She focuses on coding. I'm more on the marketing side, and he's on the sustainability side. So with our three elements, we can design something that covers sustainability.
for what we're gonna do then for next month is, again, we're gonna have a session like today with a different speaker, and then again we're gonna have something similar to today, to actually every time we format your project better and better and so on. But it's only possible if you actually start already communicating with the other team members and so on, to make sure that towards the end of this year you already have something in mind what you're going to be working on, and then by May, June next year that you really have like your whole project ready to present. Thank you for joining today.